Good morning, my artsy friends. Happy Monday morning. Welcome to our regularly scheduled Monday morning live. I'm so glad, as I always tell you guys, that you have taken time out of your busy schedule to join me here on YouTube for today's live. Have a pretty cool, laid back type of live plan for you guys today. I'm going to be sharing a sort of reference photo or reference landscape um, site with you guys today that I have been using here lately in order to paint some landscapes. And we're going to talk about that more, excuse me, when we jump directly into the lesson. So, yesterday, where we had our monthly Palm Street sale, which was actually a sketchbook sale, and it went pretty well, I have to admit. Um, every single sketchbook sold out. If you were a part of this sale, I cannot thank you enough for just A, being there, and B, the kindness that you guys showed with purchasing those sketchbooks. Like every single one, I went into that live with 16 handmade sketchbooks in different sizes, and all of them sold, every single one. Now, the one thing that didn't do too well that I am trying to rework, it is listed in the video description. You will find some asterisks that show you how you can grab October 2025 Defiant Art Artist Sampler Art Box. And that box is $20. For those who missed it, like I said, there's a link in the video description. I did decide that I was going to show this again on this morning's live. So if you've already seen it, just bear with me. If you haven't seen it already, then absolutely take a look here. So for the ones that sold yesterday, because it was sold at the $20 price, or for any that are ordered before I get the rework of that box up, what you're getting in there is I originally had 10 sheets of 100% cotton, 90-pound um, Fies lightweight paper. And then I added to that 10 sheets of 140-pound, 100% cotton, heavyweight Fies paper. So you're getting two different types of Fies paper, both 100% cotton, one 90-pound, one 140 pounds. So I did add that extra 10 sheets to the art box that was ordered yesterday. And any that are ordered before the rework goes up will get this paper in. It had the 12 count of Jordion watercolor pencils in it. You're getting all 12 counts, a complete range. Keep in mind that watercolor pencils, like watercolors, are infinitely mixable. So you can mix the 12 colors to make many different other colors, just like you can with watercolors. You're going to get a piece of candy, which is closed up to keep it fresh. You're getting a aquarelle water brush with um, the dome, so it's easily squeezed. You're going to get a mechanical pencil that's really cute, has an eraser that is capped on it. You're getting a .25 um, Panda Fly micro fine liner, and you're going to be getting a sticker. So that's how the boxes currently come. If you are interested in those, they are running 20 bucks. There is a link in the video description. I think there's like 13 of them left inside my Palm Street shop. Well, and that will is how the listing would be. Oh, and it comes inside this cute little see-through pencil bag, which of course can be reused for, I really say, for a travel kit, because as you can see, every single thing that I showed you fits inside here. So if you want to use that as a travel kit and take watercolor pencils on the go versus watercolors, you could with no problem. So that is currently in the video description. Go grab you one if you're interested in it. Um, and of course, there are plenty of watercolor pencil demos, as well as tips and technique and trick video tips, techniques and tricks videos that are posted all over the YouTube channel. You simply have to hit the hourglass and search watercolor pencil, and you will find many, many different um, videos that you can paint along to. Today, we are going to be talking about Mapcrunch. Thrifty, what is Mapcrunch? Well, Mapcrunch is an app or a website that I recently discovered by way of another artist slash influencer slash professional painter. Um, And I thought it was really cool because it was a way to find landscape reference photos or landscape references without having to worry about copyright issues and those type things because it's almost just like using Google Map. So let's just take a look here. I'm going to pull up Mapcrunch. So this is Mapcrunch. I'm pulling it up on my other phone here. So think of it like going to googlemaps.com. And you know how when you go to Google Maps, you can hit Street View and then it'll show you the street view of whatever address you've looked up. Well, Mapcrunch works similarly, except for you don't have to hit Street View because everything on Mapcrunch is a street view. And instead of it mapping out where maybe businesses and houses are, it's just mapping, period. Map crunch, get it? So you're going to get all of these different images from all over the world of different landscapes that the Map Crunch globes have gone by and taken pictures of. And just like with Google Maps, you can angle and turn what you're looking at in many different directions. That way you can find the exact object that you may want to paint or the exact portion of that particular landscape that you want to paint. Now, another great suggestion that I would make is that if you decide to ever use this site and you're going through it, maybe you will find a landscape that as you're cycling through that catches your interest, but you want to keep looking. So just kind of grab a screenshot of the one that piqued your interest. That way, as you keep looking, you can go back to that screenshot and paint that one if you don't find anything else that really speaks to you. So let's just take a look here. So at the top of the app, you're going to have an options button. You'll have a share button that allows you to share what you're looking at. And then you have the go button. Now, the go button is what cycles through the different images that the MapCrunch satellite has taken. You're going to get a compass here, and then you'll get a plus and a minus sign so that you can zoom in and zoom out on whatever area you're looking at. Now, this is a free based site. So there are ads playing at the bottom of the site. You can always hit the X and it'll remove the ads, but they do eventually come back up. And MapCrunch is Google powered, just so you will know. So I'm sure that it's cross referencing some of the images from Google Maps as well, right? So as I was saying here, you can kind of spin and turn the globe or the map around in order to see the exact area that you may want to paint. Okay. You can zoom in by hitting the plus sign to get in closer. You can zoom out to pull away and get a broader view for painting. I think it's so cool. Just like on Google Maps, if you hit the arrows that are in the middle of the street or the ground or whatever, it will move you down the road to a different area that maybe you see a little bit more interest in. Here at the top, view of the day. It's going to tell you what day you're viewing this from. So this is an October 25th snapshot. So that was just 2 days ago. And then it tells you exactly where it is. This is in Poland. I won't dare butcher the town's name, but this is a shot that's over in Poland. So you're getting images from all over the world. Now, as I told you earlier, if you hit go, it'll cycle through to another image and you can do the same exact thing. So, if you find something that suits your fancy, something that may challenge you, and this is also another great way to do like plein air painting inside. Think about it without leaving the house or leaving the studio. And you can just continue to cycle through getting different images, different views. You can turn it landscape and you'll get the landscape image of it, right? Or you can do it portrait and it works exact same way in both directions. So this is what I want to show you guys, and this is what I'm going to be using to paint with today. Now, as I told you earlier, if you're cycling through and you should happen to find something that piques your interest and you're not sure how, odds are you probably won't cycle back around to that particular image no time soon, considering how many different images in here and how many satellite locations this is able to pull from, you can take a screenshot, whatever button combination on your phone that you use to take a screenshot. You can just like grab a screenshot of what you want to paint and then save it to your reference photos, which is what I did earlier today. I ran across an image as I was kind of surfacely planning this live, and saw one that I thought would be interesting for me to tackle because it's not something that I normally try to paint. And I thought that since today's video was going to be a little bit more laid back, relaxed, and fun, that hey, let's try to paint something I don't. I mean, I normally paint landscapes, so let's try it in a different way. That's what I'm saying. All right, so I'm just going to go over here and grab the screenshot of the map quest. So here's a screenshot. Oh, nope, not that one. That's the one I just took. Haha. Here's a screenshot that I took earlier. Now you'll notice that mine may look a little different because I cropped the picture to take off all of the writing at the top and the bottom. But here you can still see the compass and the plus and the minus sign. But I can look around it in order to paint the reference. So I'll just make that a little bit bigger for me. And this is what I'm going to be using to paint with. If you decide to paint along today, you're more than welcome to paint from the image that I have screenshot here, or you can pull up mapcrunch.com on your browser and cycle through and choose whatever landscape you may want to paint. And I just thought that that was a really cool, neat little website that, especially if you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to paint. Maybe you're having a little bit of artist block. Maybe you need something to just, jog that creative flow and get you going. And you don't have to be too serious about it. You can use it as like warm up painting, or you can use it as your main painting. Either way, I just thought that there was a really good little site that possibly I could suggest that may help you out of some artist block, or just give you another site to reference whenever you're looking for something to paint. So that is what we're painting from today. I am going to grab my supplies and show you what I am painting with. I am probably going to be using the Giorgione pencils since they're sitting here on my desk. I don't have anything that I say I have to or have not to paint with. I'm painting on Soho Urban Artist Watercolor. This is a block, 140-pound cold press 5x7 sheet of 25% cotton acid free paper. I'm going to paint portrait since this is in portrait, but I mean, I could make it very well, make a landscape with no issues. I did go ahead and do a little rough sketching earlier. I'm going to darken those lines up so that you'll be able to see them a little bit better. But I just rough sketched in some lines. It wasn't anything too crazy. Now I just have to find my pencil. Yep. Okay. Well, you know what? Let me grab here because I have plenty of these. Let me grab this pencil here. So I'm just gonna grabbing a pencil, and then I'm also gonna grab some watercolor paints. I'm just gonna grab what is already on my desk, on my table behind me, since they're sitting here, and I'm gonna grab these Rosa Gallery watercolor paints. I used the Rosa Gallery last week, Monday's night Patreon live. Let me show you what we painted. And it did actually sell yesterday on Palm Street. So last week, in our regularly scheduled Monday night Creation Station live over on Patreon, I painted this really colorful kind of sunset seascape painting. We were going along with the Inktober theme since it is October and Inktober is here. So we put drawing shimmer ink inside a water brush. Show you. Do I have it here? It's so funny. Nothing is where I thought I put it as I'm trying to grab it and show it to you. Isn't that hilarious? That's like absolutely. Let's see. Is this it? Yes, here it is. So I took just a regular water brush. I think I picked this one up for like 99 cents from Dollar Tree. And I poured, or should not, or used a dropper to drop in that Montmartre black drawing ink that has a gold shimmer. And we just used it straight from the brush in order to paint the foreground and the foliage. And you probably can't see it because we don't have a lot of lights on, but that black has like that gold shimmer in it from the ink. So I used the Rosa Gallery paints to paint this, and it was actually Ruby in last Monday's live that brought those paints up. That jog, it was like, yeah, Ken, go grab those paints because I have so many different brands of paints, and that's not like a flex or anything. It's just the truth based on the fact that I review products that sometimes I'll even forget until it comes up. Oh yeah, I have those paints. I sure do. So I grabbed them, and this is what we painted. So they're actually actual beautiful professional paint from Ukraine. I almost said the Ukraine, and I know that I've been corrected on the fact that I shouldn't say the Ukraine. So they're not from the Ukraine; they're from Ukraine. Okay. So since they're here, we're gonna grab those. Let's just get to painting. So hopefully you guys can see. Let me know if the lighting level is good enough for you guys. I'm noticing on my tablet it seems a little cool, maybe not as bright as it could be. If need be, I will close those blinds and turn on the studio lights. So just let me know if you need a little bit more illumination, okay? So again, we're painting from MapQuest, and I'm basically just going to try to paint what I see here. I'm going to grab a pencil again so I can just kind of show you guys how I sketch this in. Now this is 5x7 paper. Do with it what you will, make it however you want to. What I like about this image when I came across it is the fact that everything is basically mid-ground and foreground. We don't have to worry about drawing any background. So there's nothing, we're not trying to create too much distance here because the majority of the first fourth of your paper is all sky, right? And then you have about, I don't know, or just under a third area here that is going to be foliage, which you can do any way you want to do it. You don't necessarily have to follow a reference photo to the T. And I've always told you guys that I actually change my reference photos up quite a bit when I translate them to paper most times. And then in the foreground, we have this sort of like, I don't know, stone wall that's kind of grungy and dungy. And I thought that this would be cute to kind of do ink and wash style. So I will be grabbing a fine liner before all of this is said and done. We're still in October, so I'm still trying to get some inking photos and illustrations done without pulling them from the actual Inktober prompt list. Mainly because when I do the Inktober flip through, I want to show people that everything I painted basically didn't come from the prompt list. So it's not necessarily about being rigid and sticking to every single word that's on a prompt list more so than it is about encouraging you to just create. All right. So I'm going to start coming down, like I said, about a fourth of the entire top of the paper is going to be sky before we come to a tree line. So all you want to do here, and I'm going to darken this up so you can see it, is I'm just going to like scribble in a tree line. I'm just making little scribbles, little angles, but I'm basically trying to make sure that I follow the dips, the height of it, just so I can get a more realistic feel. But maybe I'll make it fall and I'll put reds and yellows in there instead of making it all green. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Okay, so then I don't know, about a little bit over a thumb's length, a thumb's width from the top of that tree line. You're going to get the top of the wall. It's not straight. And on MapQuest, you can actually like turn it and get it in the exact position that you want. I'm assuming that in this picture, this wall may have a little slant that goes up this way. I'll be honest, I didn't check it out. Once I got the area I wanted, I just kind of screenshotted it. And then here you can make some other little faint lines because these are like those cedar bricks. And I'm pretty sure that this has been standing for quite a while. So you could make like other uh, lines just to give yourself a guideline. of the wall. And that's pretty much all the sketching you need. It's not a lot to it at all, right? All right, so let's charge right in. First thing I want to do is put down a little background. All right, let's start with a little sky. I'm gonna grab this lighter blue watercolor pencil from the Georgian set, and I'm using the pencil on the side of the lid, not the tip, the side of the lid, and I'm just going to sprinkle in a little color. Now, don't you worry, we're going to be mixing this with paint, so it's not going to be a big deal. But I just want to get a little bit of that blue in there because I think I'm going to put a little bit in the tree line a little later on. And very light, very, very light layer. Very, very light. But this is just showing you how pencils can play well with other products. And I'm not really worried about this too much. Like I told you guys earlier, I'm really, really not. We're just playing and having fun. I'm going to grab a pretty big brush here. Let's go for, oh, I don't know, a number 8 round. That's big enough. It's about appropriate for the size paper we're using. And I still have my Rosa Gallery swatch sheet out here too as well. I'm going to go with, let's do the cobalt in this set. Now, I do believe that this is a mixture. I believe this cobalt is a mixture of PB29 with PW6 or PW4 added to it, like a white. Um, and you can actually wet the top of your sky or wet it with wet disperse the pencil if you want to first. I'm not gonna really worry about it. I'm just gonna let it all mix in together. And I'm gonna get that really watery at first. Lots of water on my brush, adding it to my paper. And I should have started with the brick area in all honesty, because I want to do a salt technique on it. And that's going to take that a minute to dry. That's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and wet down to my tree line. Maybe we'll just do our texture the old fashioned way instead of using salt, since I forgot. Um, Grab some more of that cobalt. And I'm just going to start at the very top. I'm also going to add some ultramarine to that to darken up just a little bit. That sky is actually gray. I'm making this much earlier and brighter time of the day. I'm just going to work that all the way down to my tree line until my brush runs out of paint. Grab some more water here because I have watercolor pencil there. And I'm actually going to bring it down into the top of my tree line so that I don't have like a crazy effect there. Let's add a little ultramarine to that. Let's darken the top of that sky a little bit. I'm just gonna let that work down. I'll grab some water, and I am pulling the bristles of my brush on the side of my bucket to take off the excess water. There we go. Just a little bit of darkness at that sky. You can tap your paper in different directions to help get rid of brush strokes and make that paper blend, make that blend happen a little bit more. Yes, Ruby, I know you love Rosa. That's why I'm painting with them. You reminded me to go grab them. Reminded me how much I thought, how cute I thought they were actually. All right, let's see. Let's go with some clouds in the sky. These clouds are very, very, very great and diffused. So we're going to keep it that way too. They're not white. They're definitely very, very gray, like maybe it's about to rain or something. So I'm grabbing a number 2 round nylon brush. This is not going to hold a lot of water, just enough. So we can mix really quickly a gray. I'm going to grab ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, or you can use burnt umber. Now, I think that I need to look at the pigment makeup for. All right, that should be gray enough. I'm gonna water that down. I don't want it too strong at all. plenty of water to that. And then we're going to go in and see if we can. Paper is drying pretty quick. I have to remember this is a 25% cotton paper instead of a 100% cotton paper. So what I would hope would happen, I'm going to have to re-wet my paper because I need those clouds to blend. And here is one of the issues with the re-wetting. You are going to have to rework your sky. So I'm actually going to rework my entire sky here. My paper dried way too fast just then. Okay, it's okay. Like I said, this is not a, oh my goodness, the end of the world type of painting. We are just going to get it done. I'm going back at the top with some cobalt. Cobalt is all I'm adding, and I'm going to work it all the way down. Go ahead and tap to get my blend again. And now I'm going to go right in and start putting in my clouds. Yep. And I need to mix a little stronger color here. Now, when you use that burnt sienna and that ultramarine from this Rosa Gallery set to make a gray, it'll kind of go green real quick. I think that burnt sienna has an undisclosed yellow in that mixture. And I'm just gonna tap in clouds. These are way too dark, but they'll diffuse a little bit. I'm not, like I said, I'm not worried about it. Maybe it's a super heavy, stormy day where I am. What I'm trying to do is move quick enough so I can get a soft blend with these while my paper is still wet. And I'm really just kind of painting clouds where I see them. Now, if you're working with a 100% cotton paper, you won't have this super quick drying. Well, depending on the paper, because depending on the size of it, it may dry quick too. Just you know, based on your experience with the paper, right? And that one's a little bit darker in areas than I would want it to be, but it's gonna come behind this tree line, so we'll be good. And you see, that's what I meant by with the paper wet, it's gonna diffuse and lighten it up a little bit. So although they're still a little dark, they're not nearly as dark as they were when they originally started going in. You can always add water to it if you want to. Like I said, I'm not too concerned. It's what it is. And I encourage you to try I don't care paintings. You'll be surprised at how fun I don't care paintings are. Okay, I think I'm good with that. That's a pretty decent representation of what the sky looks like. Maybe not exact, but a decent representation. And plus, my paper is going to start to dry in a minute, which means that my paint won't diffuse as much. So I do want to go ahead and wrap this part up. Okay, I'm good with that. All right, let's come down here and start on the wall because I do want to at least give that area time to dry before I go in and try to start to do the tree line. Now, if you wanted to, and you wanted to kind of make it look like a lot of distance there, you could, go ahead and while that sky is still wet, start putting it at the very top of the tree line, and it'll diffuse and make it look blurry. to give you the imitation of a bunch of trees back there, but it's going to make them look like they're at the distance because everything in front of it is going to be opaque and more in focus. So you could do that if you wanted to to give it a little bit more depth, but I'm completely okay with the fact that it looked like it's right up on us. So I'm gonna come down here in this wall area. Now, I really want to do the salt technique, friends, and I would encourage you to give it a try. Once we get all the color in, what you would want to do is like kind of just sprinkle salt in it. But I don't have time to let my paper naturally dry from the salt technique. And the hair dryer doesn't, I don't know. We can try it. We can try it. I want to try it. I want to do it so bad because I know it's going to add the perfect texture. But anyway, let's start off with, you know what? Start off with a little raw sienna instead of yellow ochre. I like raw sienna better, I'm gonna be honest, because it's more transparent and it actually seems to be a little bit closer to the color that's wild too. But I'm going to put some yellow ochre in here. Um, Definitely going to be lots of, and I might have to constantly re-wet as I go as well, because I noticed that this paper is sucking up the water. I am going to run and grab salt. Um, yeah, I'm going to run and grab salt. It's going to take me 2 seconds. But let me just show you what we're going to do first. Let's take this yellow ochre and we're going to put it in much heavier. In order for this technique to work, you have to have lots of water and lots of pigment. Okay, so I'm going in with much heavier wash of the yellow ochre. Let's go in with much more of the raw umber that put in. And I'm going to try to get down a lot of pigment because I want to do this in one layer. I want to put in some burnt sienna. Why not? You want to keep everything sort of a milky consistency. You don't want it too watery because, like I said, you want the salt effect to work. And I'm going to move really quick to run and grab this salt because I know this is going to dry. Let's go with some sepia since we don't have a umber in here. Maybe this will be pretty. Okay, that'll work. That's definitely going to be in certain areas here, trickling down certain areas. Some over here. It's actually some green on that wall too. All of this area up here is darker. Um, Down to like second. Then it's just like little specks of it here and there. That's fine. Okay, I still feel like we are wet enough. Should have had the salt sit here with me. I'm grabbing salt. Now I'm using regular, just like kitchen table salt. You can use sea salt. You can use rock salt. There's other textures of salt out there. Keep in mind that the larger the actual granules of the salt. You know what? Just throw a little Payne's Gray in there, just because I love Payne's Gray, and I probably shouldn't want to put it in there. It's not in the reference photo, but I mean I don't really see. But I'm gonna drop it into that sepia at the top and in a few places. I just feel like it'll give the wall a little bit more grunge. And then we'll use that Payne's Gray to do the divisions in the wall once everything is said and done. There's a little mossy effect it feels like right up here, but we'll wait to put that in. So now what I want to do is drop salt and I'm gonna try to keep it even. I don't know how well this effect is gonna do considering the time frame we have, but we're gonna see. Might not have as much texture on the bottom part of the wall, which is unfortunate because it wasn't that wet. It started to dry quick. I'm gonna take a mister. Let's see if I'm just gonna mist. Oh, sorry if I hit the camera. Mist the bottom of that. See if I can get a little bit more water down there for this effect. Okay, now what you would need to do is give this time to dry. We don't have that time. So I'm gonna move on to working on a tree line. By the time I'm done with the tree line, if it's not dry, we're gonna grab a hair dryer and we're gonna dry it on up. Okay, now let's see if I can paint this tree line without going into the top of the fence here. How are we gonna do this? Now, this is pretty green. You really don't have too much difference in the shades of green there. It's like a little brighter patch right here in the middle, and then the greens around it seem really kind of desaturated, almost gray greenish. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think I'm just gonna go with how I feel as I'm painting. I'm grabbing now this set, I think this is the original 20. How many paints are in this set? I think it's 26, no, 28. It's 28. This is the Rosa Gallery set that I am painting with right here. I'm gonna show you guys some things right quick. Right. Um, they have a gum air vehicle binder that delivers the pigment. If you haven't used these paints, I really suggest you give them a try. They're really, really good. This is the 28 classic count. I just decided when I bought them, I purposely got the classic set. They have many different sets. Now they have a granulating set that I really want, but unfortunately, I missed the window when they were available on Amazon, and I keep searching for them, but I haven't been able to find them on Amazon since. I think I may have found them over on Etsy, and I can't remember what prevented me from buying them from Etsy. But I really want the granulating set to add to kind of expand this palette because, like I said, these are some good paints. And eventually, I'm gonna have to see if I can find them open stock because I need to order a tube of ultramarine blue because, as you can see, I use that one up quite a bit. But yeah, really good paint. Really, really good paint. They're gonna come with the color names, the color stock number, the light fast information, staining information, pigment information, and then they also have a special table which lets you know which ones granulate, like the ones with the G biome granulate, and the ones with the N biome or colors are made based on natural pigments. So like you have nope, that's a real cobalt. I stand corrected. That's PB28. It's a natural PB28, so it does granulate. So we should end up with a little granulation in the sky, but I don't see any just yet. Maybe I didn't use enough water. Um, They have a beautiful cobalt turquoise. I like the fact that there are so many cadmiums and real cobalts in this set, not hues. The real actual pigments that are going to offer you texture and granulation. So really nice set, and it's not too expensive. I can't remember what I paid for it at the time. I want to say it was in the $30 range, maybe. Oh, it's been so long ago when I bought these. But there's a review on the channel if you want to check them out. Ooh, looky, 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 the texture forming. Yay! Texture, texture. Love it, love it. Okay. Um, Make sure there's no salt up here. And my sky is dry enough for me to work. And I actually think the top of that wall might be dry enough for me to work around it too, without being too concerned about anything as we let the salt continue to do its thing down here. Um, so do I want to start off with a pencil? I think I do. I think I do because I know that this area, and I'm not really worried about being detailed at this point. At this point, I want to get value range right. Okay. These trees are so close up on us. If we were to do just like a line in front, you'll get the point. You don't have to paint every single thing, right? And what I want to do is get, this is not the most natural of greens. You would definitely need to mix it with something. What I'm trying to do is just get my value range here where I can see the, because as I was telling you, there's like a really light patch of color, and then there's like a gray, gray gray green around everything else. I actually started doing a little landscape with just these pencils yesterday. Uh, who knows? Depending on how things go, we may get around to that. I'm going to grab that number 8 round brush I was working with, and I'm just going to tone the paper. I'll do the darker areas first. Okay, so the top of that wall is not dry. The great thing about watercolor pencils, thank goodness, is that you don't have to use a lot of water to disperse them. Actually, the less water you use, the better it's going to be. Because unlike watercolors, watercolor pencils, unless you're literally mixing them into your wash at that time, too much. Okay, yep, we got some bleeding going on. I should not have done that. That's okay. It'll just look more uniform. Like I said, don't worry about it too much. Do that lighter green. And truly, you can actually go ahead and go in and start putting your trees on top of that. Because what you have done at this point is tone the area where you're going to put your trees just to make it look full. That's really all it is. Okay, I'm going to give that a second to dry, friends. I don't want that to continue to bleed. Let me pick that up. All right, I'm going to put that to the side and give it just a second. I need the top of it to dry. All right, let's go ahead and do the top of this. I'm going back to that number 2 round brush that I was working with. No, actually, I want the number 8 round brush I was working with. And I'm going to start off with olive green. As I said, this set doesn't have, let's mix a little olive and a little, it's called emerald green, but it's actually phthalo. Now, here's the thing. Phthalos are very staining colors, so you have to be, you know, sure with this. I'm just going to go in and just lay in what would feel like trees. Okay, I'm going making sure that that tree line goes up above where I sketched in, where I sketched in a tree line. And as I told you guys earlier, if you were doing this while the sky was wet, you get more of a diffused look. But I'm not. So, what was I using? Olive and phthalo, which is definitely more or lighter than the gray green. Again, I'm not going for detail. I'm just going for value here. Now to that, I'm going to add a touch of ultramarine, which is a touch too much. Whew, these paints are so easily re-wet that it doesn't take much. Now, as you can see from the picture, everything that is close to us in that tree line gets almost super shadowed, which is funny considering the fact that you can see the wall so well, right? Now I'm creating much more dimension in mine than there is here. Whereas the darker bluey green on the front is going to push back the lighter green, but you're going to be able to see it all through the finished image. All right, now I'm going to rake because I want to get that time to dry. Put a few some dark back there. It's going to make it look like what's in the middle is actually in the middle. And I'm keeping it kind of light so it will look a little further away. All right. And see, this is what I mean by I just kind of go with the flow. It'll change based on what's going on. Oh, yeah. Okay. So there's going to be a nice little background setting. We'll let that dry. I'm not really worried about it being even and the fact that it has texture in there because that'll just add to the overall feel once everything is said and done. Indeed. All right. Let's see if we can. I'm just going to, just in case there's any salt, I'm holding this off of the table. I'm thinking that I want to go with that sepia pen. I have a sepia micron. This is a number one, so it's pretty thin. Um, Now that ridge actually is almost light, so I'll have to hit that with some. I'll hit that with a gel pen or some bleed proof to add that highlight to the top of that ridge. I'm just using this sepia micron to darken it up because it's all pretty grungy up there. It's all pretty grungy. I had somebody ask me, um, do I purposely try to switch up? And I wasn't sure what they meant, but I think what they meant was I purposely switch up styles. And the answer would be absolutely. I like to try a lot of different types of things. Okay, now we could make this. It's kind of old, so let's try not to be. Let me try not to be too perfect about this. And it's not really okay. There we go. I'm not gonna use a ruler. I'll make the lines as straight as I can, but I don't know. It's an old, decrepit wall, so I feel like It may be a little bit more realistic if I just freehand this and definitely going to be tapping on like moss and things like that on the wall. And then the next ones will be slightly offset so that you can definitely see that there's different bricks there. Now, this is not necessarily following the reference photo again here, but I wanted to get them that definite division in the wall. Um, and then honestly down here, those cracks are a little bit lighter. So I think what I want to do is glaze over a layer of raw sienna, super watery, and then I'll come back with a mixture of burnt umber. I mean, well, this doesn't have a brown. It has a Mars brown in it, but I haven't tried that. So maybe the sepia and the ultramarine um, to really do these little divisions down here so they won't seem as heavy as the ones at the top of the wall. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't know if it's going to work. This is an experiment in babysitting. All right. I'm going to glaze on, since I know my ink here shouldn't move, let's grab raw sienna and water it down quite a bit, just so I can give it that more like natural earthy look feel that it has. Super watered down paint. Let's see. And I'm just brushing it on. I'm barely touching the paper. I'm not trying to reactivate anything or destroy the texture that I made. So I'm being very careful, being sure not to scrub anywhere. Lay down the color and move on. It will help dull some of the texture, make it a little bit softer, a little bit more natural looking. I did get a little carried away with the salt. Okay, just a little up here, across the top. All right. Now it shouldn't take that but a second to dry. So while this drying, let's mix up the color we're going to be using for the shadow all over. Uh, let's go with, oh nope, that's Payne's Gray. Let's mix it here, since this is already a gray here. And I know that gray was mixed from burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. So I'm just going to throw some more burnt sienna in there so we can get it more brown than gray leaning. And I definitely want to put a little sepia in it. Okay. I need enough of it to do the whole wall. So let's add a little bit more water. It's going to thin it out, make it a little bit more inky. So we'll have to add some more ultramarine, some more burnt sienna, sepia. Yes, yes, yes. Nice, rich brown. Nice, saturated, rich, cool leaning brown, which is why I'm using the ultramarine. Although it's a warm color. Yes, ultramarine is a warm blue, but when mixed with burnt sienna and other browns, well, especially mixed with A cooler earth tone, like say sepia or a burnt umber, is going to give you a more cool leaning neutral. Whereas something like a Venetian red, an Indian red, or a burnt sienna is going to give you a more warm leaning mixture. But it's all in what you want. All right. I'll leave that mixture there for a second. And we'll go in and start putting in some of these trees. I'm going to need a sort of darkened mixture for these as well because we want them to kind of stand out in front so that all of the rest of it is background, right? So let's grab what were we using? We were using olive. We're using a little of that emerald green, which is what PG-15. So it's going to be phthalo green. And I think that's what that emerald is. I think it's phthalo green. Let me make sure. I'm just telling you guys that. Uh, PG7 phthalo green. I'm sorry. I don't know why I was saying 15. See, that's why I checked. Add a little blue to that. Now, I might be mixing different greens for this. Let's see how strong this is. Yeah, that's not very strong. Let's add a little bit more blue to that. A little bit more olive. A little bit more emerald. Get a really, there we go. Let's try that. There we go. That's going to be better. Now, if you want to do deciduous trees, feel free. If you want to do evergreens, feel free. If you want to do a mixture of both, feel free. This is your painting. You do whatever you want. Whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. This is your thing. This is your jam. This is the point where I'm kind of veering off completely from the reference photo. Not quite sure what I want, where I want it. I'm not sure how many of these I want, or if I'm even going to leave them. I might paint over them. I don't know. I just want to start getting this tree line filled in so it looks a little bit more realistic, a little bit more whole. You're able to distinguish the trees that are there. Grab a little blue in it. I just feel like give it some shadow down there on the base. The darker that is, the more it's going to come towards you and stand out against everything else. I'm grabbing that brown we mix, and at this point, I'm going in and shading in the top of the wall that I see needs to be shaded. That whole one is kind of like muddled. And I'm moving quickly. I'm just following the general pattern of shading that's on each of these bricks. I'm not trying to be too particular. I'm going to come back and put some green in on top of this as well. Because like I said, it does have Really kind of mossy feel. Real kind of mossy feel. All right. This next row, kind of same thing. And I don't want to cover up too much of my texture, so I am being careful on the ones that are super textured. I'll pull back on the shadowing if I need to, just to make sure I don't lose too much of it. And I'm not caring about hard lines. This is a wall. You're gonna get hard shadows. I don't have to worry about blending everything out super without super smooth. All right, I'm gonna put in the next segment of what do you call these things? Cedar blocks? Not are they called cedar blocks? I don't know. Something like that. Try to generally keep them the same width. I'm gonna kind of loosely paint this in. Come down a while. I'm just making sure to offset them from each other, so you can definitely see it. Because I'm about to come down that wall with the shadow wherever it needs to go, using the same color. I hear my neighbors outside talking. They're quite active, quite active on a regular basis. Right. Um, I'm trying to see, do I feel like I need to go in and put in darker lines, or is that's gonna if that's gonna work for me? I feel like these need to be a little darker, especially to handle the shadow when it's gonna go on some of them. Okay, let's see. This one, well, actually, it should have been the one above that. It's got shadowing on it like that, and it's kind of lighter in the middle. Actually covered up all the texture on it. I hate that part. And a little bit over here. And then it's kind of like speckled in the corners and not all on one, coming down areas and then not on another. It's kind of weird how it is actually. But I'm gonna capture as much of it as I can. You don't have to paint every single detail. You're just trying to capture the essence of the wall. Add a touch of water to that, thin it out a little bit. Um, Definitely don't have to do every single one, even if you see it. The rest of those are pretty clear. Everything else is like a speckling. So maybe I'll do some what do you call those things? Some splatters. And I feel like I might need to bring that inking on down the wall. That's how I'm feeling about that. It's coming together. It's coming together. It's not there yet, but it'll be there in a second. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes the shadow make a little bit more sense. Brings the wall forward a little bit more. Let's do some splattering on that. I need some fine, fine splatters. They gotta be really, really speckly, and it's gray. It's gray. So let's grab ultramarine and add it to this mixture we were just using for shadow. Yeah, it's definitely gray like that, and they're pretty defined. They're pretty pronounced. So I'm gonna tap my brush, and I'm gonna try my best to keep it out of the tree line. As a matter of fact, let's move that to the side. So I can try to keep that out of the tree line. All right, because we got speckles. We got like these little black speckles on a lot. And this is like guided splattering. I'm using a smaller brush to make sure I'm controlling what I'm doing. I'm tapping, I'm using my finger, my nail to tap towards the ferrule of that brush, making sure that those splatters kind of go spray down directly off the tip of the brush. And this is just a controlled splatter. And it's going to add more texture and dimension to our wall. And I'm being careful because there's not much of that on that bottom row of bricks for some reason. Not sure how they escaped. And the only other thing I really want to put on there to kind of represent how that wall looks is to put on some moss. And then maybe we'll go in and darken up the inside of those bricks a little bit more just to make them look even more 3D and kind of pushed out. Okay. I really like the way this wall is turning out. Grab a little bit more of that. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and finish that tree line, giving those splatters time to dry. We'll finish up the bottom, and then that'll be a wrap. Yeah, we're over an hour and 30 minutes in at this point, so it's time to call it a wrap. All right, I'm going to just go in with greens, different greens, different shades of greens, and just get this done. I'm gonna make it all an evergreen line, get it over with. It's just easier for me to paint these and get it over with than it is for me to worry about trying to put in all those deciduous trees. And you be sure to make the decisions that are going to best suit. I don't know what green that would I was about to grab. That best suits how you paint. Because there comes a point when you're going to have to speed it up even when you didn't want to. So I'm changing some things real quick to go ahead and get this done. Uh, Definitely turned out to be a little bit more of an animation than I wanted it to be, but oh well. I kept saying at the beginning of this I wasn't going to worry myself too much with it, and I plan on sticking to that. Using that darker one there, just sort of pull in front of the lighter green one, being sure to leave space in so you can kind of see through the tree, gives a little bit more realism and make what we did earlier make sense. At this point, I'm just using the same green, just gonna skip around. Some blue in there. Let's bring that one forward a little bit more. And this is like, this technique, if you don't know, it's called a blob technique. It's where you kind of blob in the tree. Offer some real perspective here. Right in the middle. This is why I spent so much time on the wall. I wasn't really worried about the tree line. Tree lines are actually pretty easy to rough in. Just get the basic shape of your tree and then just go back and put in the rest of it. And as long as you're layering trees, you don't even have to be perfect with it because the things from the background show through to the foreground. I don't know. It just makes everything work. Indeed, it does. I'm going to mix a little lighter green into that. Want to change that shade just a little bit. It'll actually push that one back behind the ones in the front. And that's a good thing because that one doesn't look much like a tree. That one does not look much like a tree, so let it be pushed back. Okay, yeah, I can't leave that like that. That looks terrible. Let's go in here and just go in there and treat it up. There we go. It brought it forward, but that's fine. I needed it to at least resemble a tree. So using a image from Mapcrunch as a reference, here's where we are. And I'm going to actually put more blue in it. I'm going to bring that one forward. Let me see. this phthalo green over here, and then this emerald. Okay, there, that's fine. That'll work. Okay, is this dry? I want to put the mossy, fieldy, so I'm gonna go with the olivey mixture. And there's like a moss texture across the top, and I'm gonna stipple with my brush, layering on that color. And this is just the olive green watered down by itself. It's kind of everywhere now that I'm really paying attention to it. It is. It's really kind of everywhere. You can see it on a lot. It's all up in here, and it's coming up from the bottom there. And I'm just stippling and raking my brush across the brick, trying to get some dry brushing in certain areas and stippling in others, and just kind of slapping in that green color wherever I see it. It's kind of everywhere, and I really didn't pay attention to how everywhere it was before. I see it in quite a few places, like moss that has grown on it. I'm gonna tap it. I'm gonna, and this is the green. And I'm really not, I guess I shouldn't really care about the tree line at this point, because if I get that in there, tapped in the tree line, it's not gonna really even show. Definitely don't want it in my sky. All right, I'm gonna I'm gonna make those divides in between the bricks darker, and then that's gonna be good. It was fun. It was cute. Maybe I should have used black, but turned out to be an ink and wash, so I can use it for Inktober. I still don't think that's dark enough. I feel like I might need to grab a black ink, because the crevices just don't seem like they're dark enough. Now I don't know if that's even working anymore. Okay. Let's see. I haven't used this in a while. But I don't see the ink. Let's, did it fall? It probably fell down behind the disc. Yeah, of course it's gonna fall down behind the disc because there we go. So I have this ink from Inktober last year. It's called the Feather Pen. I know this is water soluble, so I'm not going to. That's why I'm letting this be the last thing I do. I just feel like, see if I can remember how to use this. The dip pen. I remember last year when I first started, I could never figure out how to get this pen to right. See, that's better. That's definitely better. I could never figure out how to get this pen to work. And finally, somebody said, dip the pen in the ink. Stop being so scared. And I was like, no, I don't want to do it. It's gotta be wrong. See, like, then I dipped it way too much. I do that. Uh, no, I want to mess it up. But I eventually kind of got the hang of it. I'm still no expert on it, but I feel like I'm better on it now than I was. They're definitely a different beast. See, like, I can't get it to work now just because I see it all that. And I think I dipped it in too far and got ink where I don't need ink. Okay, there we go. And yeah, that's definitely better for ink and wash. Just seems a, just seems to give the wall a little more depth. Experiment with your products. Play. This is how you learn to grow. You experiment and you figure out what works best with your style. Because everything that works for one person might not work for you, you know? Or something that works for somebody else might work perfectly for you, especially if you have like similar styles of creation. Like, I love a lot of things I see done by a lot of artists. But I know that if I put my hands on it and do it, it's not going to turn out the way they did. It's going to turn out along my style. And sometimes you just kind of like what you see the way it is, right? I say that's 10 times better. An ink pot to pour the ink into. Okay, so I know this maintenance knocking on my door. Of course, I would have an interruption. All right, hold on. I gotta get that. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Um, but yeah, on an ink pot, absolutely, I will look into getting that because I love my dip pen, and I have all types of drawing inks and things. Um, let's see, just gonna hit and miss a little bit up here because I definitely want my highlight on the top of the wall to stand out. Okay, that's pretty much that. Uh, all right, so yeah, I love it. It's so cute. It's so neat. Here's a holder, and I gave one of these away last year during Inktober, because we were whatever we worked with on those lives during Inktober, I would give it away. So I gave away this one of these. I think it was blue. It may have been green too. I can't remember. But I gave one of these, and then I gave away a set of inks to go with it, which was actually pretty cool. Oh, maybe I should have put some birds in the sky. I don't know why I did a landscape and then put birds in the sky. Isn't that crazy? That's so unlike me. But so we would. This is the ink. So the black ink that's in this pen. Let's say so. This pen, the black ink that's in this pen is actually the Mark drawing ink. It's the same black ink that I was telling you about was used on the front of this landscape. And you can see that it's a shimmer ink. So I think it was this set of inks and this dip pen was a part of the giveaway. Then there were workbooks and all types of things. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there are actually videos on the channel of it. If you type in ink, just hit the hourglass, not the hourglass, but the magnifying glass, the search glass, and on my YouTube channel, not the main YouTube, but on my YouTube channel, and type in ink. You'll get plenty of the videos from Inktober last year. I just decided not to really do an official Inktober participation this year. Just do what I wanted to do in the background, and then I'll just have a flip through of the things that I did. Now we have Thrifty Pastel Month coming up. It's about to be November. I've already worked out the prompt list for it, which of course you guys know is only 4 prompts. So, is it four? Yeah, it's only 4 prompts. So it's like nothing to really be worried about. So there, I think I'm gonna call that done. Do I want to put a bird in the sky? Butterflies in the sky. I think I heard there's a reboot of Reading Rainbow coming, and if that's the case, I cannot wait on that. Oh my goodness. Uh, I wonder whether I think it's going to be on Netflix because, as you know, PBS and NPR are a bit underfunded at the moment. But I think the reboot is going to be on Netflix if I remember correctly. Let's put a few birds in the sky. I can just put a few. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. That'll work. Yeah, Terry, the sky turned out nice. The rest of it is okay. I wouldn't. I mean, it's a little drawing. I'm gonna remove this from the block just because I had a tendency to leave it on. But you guys get the point. So I used Mapcrunch in order to get the general idea. Oh, that's finished. Haha. Another journal in the making. So there is that little painting, friends. I'll show you the reference photo that was used, and you will see right away that I don't always use a reference photo as intended. but just use it as inspiration in order to do something. So there that is. I like the way the wall came out actually. Once the black ink was added, it gave it much more depth. The sky is gorgeous, and unintentionally, as you can see, this is almost like one point perspective because you can't really see any distance or any background. You're just kind of getting one point. But when I did it, as you can see, I actually created distance in this. So it makes it look like that line of trees go back up in there quite a bit of ways. Which is why I was telling you we weren't really worried about detail on that first layer because we were going to be putting these in across the front. So definitely something for you to give a try. Not bad at all. So I'm gonna wrap up here, friends. Thank you so much for joining me in today's live. If by chance you came in after we got started, don't you worry yourself. As soon as the live ends, you can go back and rewatch whatever you would like to. Um, and keep in mind that by this time, hopefully tomorrow or maybe a little bit later, it'll have edits to it in case you want to just watch the replay friendly version of things. You'd be more than welcome to do that. Don't forget to check the video description for all of the relevant links. It includes the link to Palm Street so that you can grab the October 2025 artist sampler art box that will have this 12 count of pencils in it, um, so that you can. It's got pencils and pens and stickers and candy and all them other type of stuff in it. So just check out the link, see if it's something that you would like, or maybe something you would like to grab as a gift for someone. Christmas is coming up. I only have like 12 or 13 of them left, so be sure to check those out. You can check out the link for the Defiant Art website, which will take you over to my website where you can, um, if you haven't checked it out for the month, check out the October recommended video. Some things that have gone on throughout the month of October. You're going to get beginner technique videos tagged over there. You're going to get beginner sketchbook videos tagged over there to get you started. And I think it might be a junk journal video, but all you have to do is replace the pages with watercolor pages, and bam, you have a sketchbook. They're very interchangeable, super interchangeable. Um, let's see, the most recommended product list, which is now a part of the Defiant Art website blog section. So when you click on the link in the video description for the most recommended product list, you're going to get a very up to date. I just updated that list and moved it over to um, a blog post on the Defiant Art website, and each one of those have their its own link that'll take you directly to the product. Um, so if you're interested, or in all of the products on that list are products that you can find reviews for here on the channel. They are definitely products that I've tried that I think are really good quality, that are very budget friendly and won't break the bank. Outside of the professional products that are on there, because of course there are some professional products on there as well. So definitely check that out. What else? If you're new, returning, haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you'll know when we go live and when we upload. We go live every Monday as we are now at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Um, there's a pre-recorded video release that drops every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So be sure to check that out. And then Fridays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time is when you're going to get product reviews for any products that are up for review, which we have a lot of them that we are moving into the testing phase for. We're currently going to be testing the Da Vinci um, professional watercolors. We're going to be testing uh, a new set of colored pencils soon. We're going to be testing those Woody 3-in-1s. It's time to go ahead and get those open and tested. And the rework for the box with the new journals will be coming out in the next couple of days as well. So you can stay tuned for news about all of those great things. Here's another wonderful technique with watercolor pencils. Just use a damp brush and pick the pigment up from the lid, and you sort of use it like a watercolor pattern. The only thing is, when you do that, you want to give that lid time to dry before you try to draw with it or sharpen it, because you don't want to damage it. But I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Patreon, I will see you guys at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time in the Creation Station, as always. And I will have the advertisement for that up very, very soon. So keep your eyes open. And yeah, that's going to be a wrap. I'll check the video description. Not video description, I always say that. I'll check the comment section to see if there's any comments, questions. Be sure to throw them in. If you're watching in replay, be sure to throw your questions in the comment section, and I will happily answer them for you. All right. Thank you so much, Terry. I'll see you tonight over in Creation Station. All right. So thank you guys for joining me. And remember, as I tell you at the end of every single video, just keep creating, friends.